Welcome to The Devoted. I'm Pastor Evans.
I'm Mrs. Evans.
Today's devotion is called Wisdom for Your Marriage. Again, in the YouVersion app, doing day one of the devotion. Let's get started.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Blessed sex.
Right. Sex is God's idea. It is God's creation. It is God's gift. The Bible is completely positive about sex and marriage. Consider Proverbs 5:18 through 19, a passage that is almost embarrassingly candid and expressive. Let your fountains be blessed and rejoice in the wife of your youth, a lovely deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast fill you at all times with delight. Be intoxicated always in her love. God is saying to every married couple, enjoy your sexual relationship. This is my gift to you. Have fun. Husbands, take delight in the playful beauty and gracefulness of your wife's body. Be intoxicated, ravished by her love. This may not be the way you thought of God and sex, but this is the biblical perspective. Sex is God's gift. In itself, sex is completely good. Yes, sex can be abused. It is like fire. In the fireplace, fire is a good thing, giving warmth and light. But out of the fireplace, fire can do great damage.
Pause there.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Let's see. I think it's a different perspective to have than you normally get growing up in church. Is that sex is exciting and sex is good and sex is supposed to be enjoyed. We say all the time that God created sex, and so we should enjoy it in marriage,
right?
Particularly in marriage, right? What did it say? Oh, then it gives warmth,
right?
In the right place and light in the right context,
right? In the right context,
like I was talking about here with the fireplace. Like you want the fire to burn in your fireplace. You want the fire to burn on your stove.
Yeah.
You want the fire where it's supposed to be.
Right.
So that's kind of how we see sex in marriage. In those instances, fire is useful. It's delightful.
So then you want fire to burn in your marriage.
So you want fire to burn in your marriage, because in that context it works.
Right.
In other contexts, it's destructive.
Right. Well, right? In your marriage, right? So outside of marriage.
Outside of marriage, it's like fire burning on your couch.
Right. It
still provides light. It's still warm.
Right.
But it's burning something up.
Right, because it says, but out of the fireplace, and the fireplace is your marriage. But out of the fireplace, fire can do great damage.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's what I was thinking about so far.
Right.
Yeah. My turn to read?
Sex
is that way. It is completely good in marriage.
I read that already.
You read that part? Okay. Sex is not just the merger of two bodies.
Oh, no, I didn't read that. Where did I stop?
Let's see.
Wait, I thought I had read that.
You stopped at great damage.
Okay. Sorry.
Sex is that way. It is completely good in marriage, but outside of marriage, it can do great damage. Sex needs the context of a loving, committed, trust-filled marriage. Sex needs this context because it's so powerful. Sex is not just the merger of two bodies, but the merger of two hearts and two souls. Whenever a man and a woman have sex, there is a channel cut between their souls, a channel of emotional and spiritual intimacy, a channel intended by God to express tender love and deep oneness. You cannot do that casually. You can only do that within the safety and security of lifetime love. No wonder people get so hurt when they abuse God's gift of sex.
Sex is good. Enjoy it to the hilt in marriage, but only in marriage. It is simply too powerful for any place other than a committed, loving, and secure marriage. We often talk about the power that each person has when they're trying to draw someone in to their space.
Okay.
But we never talk about how powerful sex in itself is.
Okay.
Right? Like, As we all know, sex is so powerful that they use it to sell everything nowadays. And for a while, the power but they often use the power of sex negatively, right? Even when they're just trying to sell a burger, right? And it's some woman with large breasts,
right,
biting into this drippy,
right,
burger that actually can cause obesity and all kinds of other issues.
Is there.
Right. And so they use that negatively, but the reason why they put people in it is because that makes the innuendo that much more powerful.
Okay.
And so I think that we don't often talk about how powerful sex is alone without trying to add some illicit image of a woman's body most times.
Most times.
I'm sure that I've seen many posts of where women are like, pick your story time or pick your day of the week, right? And it's all these pictures of men and you're supposed to pick like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Right?
Now
but that's also an innuendo for someone wanting to be involved in a sexual relationship with this man because he's so sexy.
Right.
You know, and I really don't. I just really don't like it because I'd be thinking, can he read?
Right.
Like, does he have a job? Like, what is he all about? And it's not the pictures of the men. You know, I don't fault the men. I don't even fault the women because sex is what sells. Sex draws us in a lot of the times. Yeah.
The idea of the film, and I think it's just the idea of the what they anticipate you feel while you're doing it, like physically.
Right. But that's still a negative power of sex.
Right.
That's not a positive.
Because they don't sell you the what happens after.
Right.
And all the other issues that come from not being in a trusting relationship with someone, particularly marriage, but even in a relationship where you can actually trust the person that you're giving your body to, because there's a lot of insecurity that comes with that. There's a lot of uncertainty that comes with that because there's no actual commitment that's involved in it. It's just the act and reaction of the body, and I think that's the abuse that the devotion was talking about. You can abuse it, but that's not how God made it. So anything that we do with it, other than what God intended, becomes abuse.
Right, and
even if you don't think it is.
And most times we're not talking about the positive. Like I said, we're not talking about sex being a positive, powerful thing.
Right.
Right.
It's a positively powerful thing in a marriage.
Yeah, in its place.
Right. Outside of a marriage, it will be destructive.
A lot of times we concentrate on the positive, negative thing that it is because that excites us.
I don't understand. What's a positive, negative thing? What you mean?
I mean, powerful, negative thing.
Oh, powerful.
The powerful, negative thing that it is.
You said positive, negative.
Sorry.
Right.
That the sex being a powerful thing, but negatively because it's outside of marriage.
Right.
Right.
But people don't think it's negative. And I think that's where the selling of it becomes easy because people don't consider it negative because they don't consider the fact that God intended for it to be a particular way.
Right.
You know? And they don't want that restriction they feel that God placed on it. But it's really a combination lock, so to speak, or the key to unlocking the positivity of it.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not in the right context. I feel like I'm rambling.
Right. And probably we both are.
All right.
Okay.
So, what was the scripture?
The scripture was, we read it, but let's read it again.
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 5. May your spring be blessed. Rejoice in the wife of your youth.
Mm-hmm.
She is a lovely deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast intoxicate you all the time. Mm-hmm. Always be drunk on her love. Right. I think that this is the scripture is talking about, or is talking to husbands about their wives. Mm-hmm. But I think it can also be talking to wives about her husband.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, let your, what does it say? Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. And rejoice in your spouse.
Right.
Be blessed. Rejoice in the one that God gave you, and the one that you committed your life to in the sight of God.
Right.
And delight in who she is.
Or he is,
and all of who he or she is.
Mm.
Depending on if you're a husband or wife, not doing the gender thing.
Right.
So I think that's extremely important. Enjoy, delight in, get drunk on.
Right.
Get drunk on your wife or your spouse. I think that's good.
Right. So based on today's reading, what is one thing God is saying to you?
All right. Let's see. What was this? 18 weeks ago, I said to enjoy our relationship, particularly our sexual one. It's a gift from God for our marriage.
Right.
I think today that still applies, but I like the rereading of that scripture though. Be drunk on who you are,
right,
and be drunk and be intoxicated by my spouse and my wife and all of who she is, not just sexually, but because we're married, I can be drunk on you sexually too.
Right. So I wrote 18 weeks ago to delight in our sexual relationship, and remember it's a gift from God to be enjoyed in our marriage. And I think that still stands, but also I just realized even after 20 years of marriage that I had, because of my past, things that were done to me, but also things that I did to myself, and information that I currently learned, I learned that I wasn't being open to you completely in that way, and that it resulted in us not being as close as we could be. And that after a week of realizing that, I believe that we have grown closer together after realizing that I could take down that wall. And this is after 20 years of marriage. So this thing isn't easy.
Right.
And you may not even know that you have a wall up, but just for me to always remember, so that I don't put the wall back up for whatever reason.
Right. Is that a good place to stop?
I think so.
All right.